Bring in Eric Francis. Maybe he could settle this for us, senior columnist and analyst with Sportsnet. Eric, thanks for joining us. I know we're going to talk about the West for sure, particularly Calgary and Vegas, but tell us how you see this thing shaping up for the Leafs as early as round one and maybe preferences.
Well, I don't see it shaping up well at all, and I think everyone in your city knows you're in a collision course with probably the two best teams in hockey. If you're going to have any success in knock one of them off, you're going to have to face the other one. I do think, like Bourne said, it's amazing. Talking to buddies of mine in Toronto, I'm from Toronto originally, that scar tissue is so well put. You know, people just, you know, that is just so painful to think about playing Boston, even though they are not even close. They're not even in the same league as either one of those Florida teams. So, yeah, you guys have got to be hoping for a Boston matchup, but I don't see it happening. I think you're going to face a juggernaut early on, and best of luck to you.
Yeah, thanks. Before we do head out west, I figure it's good to get your thoughts on Mark Giordano, the player he was towards the end of his time with Calgary and was in Seattle. You know, what's left in the tank for Giordano that Toronto has acquired here at the deadline?
Well, I'm so happy for him. You know, I mean, I don't know if it's something he's thought of for a lot of years in his career, but what a unique and great opportunity for him to come home, play for the team he cheered for as a kid. You guys all know the story. But what I've always said about Mark Giordano is that this is a guy who would block a shot with his face in a preseason game. Like, that's how much the game means to him. Yeah. That's how much of a team player he is. This guy, the one thing you're never going to be shortchanged on is effort. I still think he's a formidable defenseman in the National Hockey League, especially if he's playing in a second pairing and playing with TJ Brody. I mean, those guys know each other like the back of their hands. I think it's going to be a big, big success. I think people are going to fall in love with Giordano, and I'm so happy for him to get that chance. No matter how it ends in the playoffs, I think it's great. And maybe next year there's a chance he'd stay there, you know, depending on how this goes over the next month or two. But for the moment, enjoy it. These are the cool stories and the ones that I really hope turn out well for the guy and for the city.
Eric, as far as Calgary exposing him, was it a hard decision? I look at Calgary's defense before this season started. You're like, Gio could still be there. Why the decision if he could still, of course, contribute to various degree of high, intensity? Why give him up? What happened?
It was such a tough. It was actually a no-brainer decision. You could see it coming for months, but it's a tough emotional parting of the ways. I mean, they tried to do whatever they could to try and salvage it. You know, maybe meet some of the asking prices that Seattle had, but the price tag was huge. They wanted a first rounder and a third rounder so that they wouldn't take Mark Giordano. And Mark Giordano was their best defenseman last year. There's no question about it. He's their captain, their leader, their most popular player. A pillar in the community, like probably the most popular player in the city. Yet, at the end of the day, because of his age, you had to protect the other three defensemen ahead of him. Noah Hannafin, Rasmus Anderson, and Chris Tanev, who's probably their best defenseman now. So it was just a no-brainer. It just, you know, and I remember the general manager telling me afterwards, I mean, he lost so much sleep over this, but he said, you know, Gio was the one that said to me, you got to do this. You can't protect me. It's for the best of the organization that you can't protect me. You got to let me go, and don't worry about me. I'll be all right. And I just think that is the essence of what Mark Giordano is all about. He knew that it was in the best interest of the organization that he'd spent his whole career with, and he wanted the best for the organization. And I just think that that little snippet there says all you need to know about this guy.
The old relationship, if you truly love someone, let them go. That's very nice. How romantic. Get your thoughts on where the Flames are at right now. They add Calle Jarnkrok. Everyone's very excited about that and his tie to the players. Toffoli before that. You know, there's some people. I was asked who's the favorite to come out of the West, and I know Colorado's supposed to be the answer, but God, it's getting hard not to say the Flames. What are your thoughts on where they're at and how they stack up against the likes of St. Louis, Minnesota, Colorado, those teams? Because it feels like the Flames are as good as any of them.
Well, over the last 8 weeks, the Calgary Flames have the best record in hockey, and it's not even close. I think they have four more wins than anybody closer to them. So that they've been unstoppable for a while now. They plugged their two biggest holes with Toffoli and Yarncroke. Toffoli's been brilliant. A point a game. He's got a goal almost every second game, or more than every second game. Everything's going in the right direction for this team right now. They are the second best team in the West to the Colorado Avalanche. And I would dare say that the Calgary Flames had a better trade deadline in terms of their acquisitions than the Colorado Avalanche had. So I think they narrowed the gap even a little bit more. And when you factor in the fact that Colorado right now, is missing one of their top defensemen, but also missing their captain in Landeskog, those are big losses. Now, I think both of them are supposed to be back for the playoffs, but at this point in time, you got to give the nod to Colorado. They're the best team in hockey, but the Calgary Flames have narrowed that gap. They went into Colorado recently and beat the Avalanche in Ball Arena, and that series is 1-1, and they play one more time, I think, next week. So I think all eyes in the hockey world will want to watch that game because it's going to be a doozy.
Sammy McKeon, my good buddy here, JB, already gave him the MVP to Austin Matthews, but maybe Johnny Gaudreau might have something to say about this. Do you not find it strange that there are no talks on a contract? He's a pending UFA, and I know if it was Austin Matthews here in Toronto under the same circumstances, I'd have to kind of talk Sammy off of the DVP.
Yeah, first of all, Matthews is the MVP. Johnny Gaudreau's in that conversation for the Hart. I could see him being an outside shot at being a finalist. He means a ton to this team and this organization, and yeah, they want to sign him. There's no question about it. But Kipper, it's like so many players who get this close to unrestricted free agency, and you only get to do that once, if you're lucky, twice in your career. And he's going to have 32 teams falling all over themselves because he's going to finish second, third, fourth in Hart Trophy this year, and then he's going to be up for grabs to the highest bidder. He likes Calgary. He says he wants to come back, but at the end of the day, let's see what all the options are before he makes his final decision. I don't think he's coming back, and I think it's the right advice for his agent to tell him, no, don't you even think about signing it. Don't even listen to offers at this point in time. Play the season out. Go finish as a finalist for the Hart. And then, see how the playoffs go. That'll be a big thing, guys, because the only knock I've ever had on Johnny Gaudreau is his playoffs. He always disappears in the playoffs, always has. And I always used to think he always will. But the season he's had this year he's taken it to a whole new level. He finished fourth 3 years ago in the Hart Trophy voting, and he's having a much better season this year. He's plus 47 or something like that, third in the league. Yeah. He's learned how to play defense. He's responsible at both ends. He's become a leader on this team. I never would have talked about him being a leader on this team, but he is now. He's the best player on this team, maybe the best, one of the best players in the league, and it's going to be a devastating blow to the Flames if they lose him this summer. However, if he has a playoff like he's had in the past, I don't think anybody in Calgary will miss him a bit.